Daniel Weinman has won the largest World Series of Poker main event ever held. The 35-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia defeated a record field of 10,043 entries in the 2023 WSOP 10K buy-in no-limit hold'em main event to capture the championship gold bracelet and the massive $12.1 million first-place prize. We caught up with the 2023 WSOP main event champ shortly after his win to learn more.
It's incredible. It's a record that's been out there for so long, and I've always kind of thought that poker was going in kind of a dying direction, but to see the numbers that the World Series has had this year have been incredible, and to win this main event, it doesn't feel real. I mean, so much luck in a poker tournament. There's obviously, I thought I played very well, but so many hands that just incredibly lucky for the situations to arise.
So speaking of which, today you guys came in pretty deep three-handed, relatively well distributed, and then that aces hand changed everything. Can you tell me about that situation, how that played out?
Yeah, it was an interesting hand. I had folded a lot of buttons early on, so I think they may have thought I was playing a little bit tighter. It was the first hand I'd really put a lot of chips in the pot. Came in with the squeeze after the Steven Open and the Adam flat, and I know that Adam likes to flat some big hands, so I ended up sizing up a little bit, kind of with the hopes that he would try to take advantage of all the dead money in there. And I don't know if it was me inducing him or him just deciding that it was too good of a hand to not go with, but it all ended up working out so well.
That was a big one, but it wasn't the most pivotal hand for you because that was the Jacks one from a couple days ago. Can you talk about that hand and just how much that, changed the trajectory of the event for you?
Such a crazy hand. I've talked a little bit about the strategy. I don't think that's super interesting, to be honest. It's such a bittersweet hand because it was both the hand that propelled me to in this tournament, but also had to knock out and put a bad beat on a good friend from back home, Josh Payne. And I could just see how much it hurt him. In the moment, so much excitement for me, but watching it back and seeing just the pain on his face, it hurt me. Not as much as it hurt him, but it was tough.
Hey Dan, is it true that you quit college to become a professional poker player during the moneymaker boom? How are you feeling?
Didn't quit college, so I finished college, went to Georgia Tech, finished my engineering degree, but my last year in school, kind of the boom happened, and I kind of had this inkling that I would play poker and give it a shot for a few years, and here we are 16 years later.
Does this kind of feel like a reward for grinding those 16 years? I mean, you've had success, but...
Yeah, I would say so. I've been, you need so much luck to win any poker tournament. There's been 3 or 4 hands in this tournament I got unbelievably lucky, and you just kind of feel like, maybe it's my time. Whether that's because I've put in the time for close to 20 years now or something else, it feels so incredible.
You had mentioned yesterday about when you were here 11 years ago watching, and kind of dreaming of it. Did it come close to what you had pictured beyond that, or...?
Totally different experience. I mean, there I was happy for a friend.
Sure.
It's hard to say there's not like a little bit of jealousy almost. It's like you want to be there so bad. I mean, this is the pinnacle of what we do. So to be here today, the feelings are just like undescribable almost. But I was surprised at how calm I was able to remain and just played solid poker.
Dan, if I'm not mistaken, you went home at one point during this World Series. Can you talk about that and resetting and what it meant to you in terms of being able to make this run?
For sure. I mean, this is my either 15th or 16th World Series. Every year before this, I've been here from event 1 to the last event. And by the time the main event comes around, I'm burnt out. I've said to many people, I don't like this tournament. The structure is too good. I'm kind of over it for the summer. And about 2 weeks into the series this year, I told my girlfriend Sarah how I was feeling, and she said, come home. So I did. I went to work, we played golf, kind of life went back to normal. And I was honestly on the fence about even coming back and playing this tournament. And, Sean Deeb was, pivotal in convincing me to come out. Sarah, I'm trying to explain to her, because she's very new to all of this. I'm trying to explain, yes, I'm going to go. I'm never going to win. I've cashed this tournament 1 out of 15 times. Most likely I'm just going to go lose 10,000 and fly home. And she was behind it, and you'd never dream this.
Talking about Shodim, we saw many legends in your rail today. Where does the support of all those guys come from, and how does it help you?
I've been friends with these guys for so long. Sean and I met at a final table 11 years ago. Friendly ever since. Just two guys that like to have a lot of fun at the table. Played a lot of open-faced Chinese together. That kind of brought Jason Mercier into the picture. Josh Aryeh and I have been friends for 15 years, maybe even more, and playing poker in Atlanta. And just having like some of the best in the world be on my side and have my back and tell me that, you know, I belong in this, you know, class of player it's just incredible.
I'm sure.
From what point on did you think that you would win? Was there any day or when you thought, yeah, I'm gonna win?
I think it was coming into today. Coming into the final table, I think I was 3 of 9. But you know, final tables can go so many different ways. You need some cards to get chips. There were a lot of good players left with a lot more tournament experience than me. But when we got down to 3, I did feel like I was the best player of the 3. And a couple good hands at the right time, it all came together.
And what are you going to do with the money?
It's a great question. I honestly have no clue. Probably invest it. Probably not the best answer everybody wants to hear, but I'm fairly cautious with it away from the table, even though I like to gamble pretty hard out here.
Can you talk about the final hand? It was an interesting one. Maybe every street of the way. First you decided to flat call pre-flop, you check raised the flop, and then called off there on the turn. What was going through your head in that hand?
Yeah, very interesting hand because Steven had been limping a lot of buttons, so I wasn't really sure what to make of his, you know, large sizing. I thought it would be kind of a medium to strong hand because I had raised his last few limps, so I thought if he limped, he would have most likely a strong hand. So when I flop top pair on such a wet board, I'm going to have a lot of check raises, you know, with some marginal hands like my exact hand to balance out the straight draws and the flush draws. And just given the way the stacks were, it was kind of set up perfectly to check raise the flop at the turn and shove the river for, you know, some kind of sizing that made sense. And when I ended up betting on the blank turn, I think it was an offsuit 4 on the turn, and he went into the tank for what seemed like 10 minutes, it felt like genuine uncertainty on this point. I didn't think he was trapping with like a set or, you know, some kind of turn feel. It really did feel like he had some middling pair or a weak jack and just couldn't decide, like, is this the time to go? So it seems kind of weird to play this final hand for, you know, 120 big blind pot with just one pair, but just kind of made my decision that when he took that long in jam, that was about where he was at.
And Daniel, you just won the main event, the biggest one. What can you do next?
I don't know. I don't think life is going to change very much for me. I'm a very happy person. I enjoy very simple things back home. I will be at work next week. Maybe play a little more golf, maybe travel a little bit more, but life is going to be very similar with a few extra dollars in the bank.